I'm Dr. John McDougall. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about children. For me, when I say children, it means grandchildren, because that's Mary's and my life. We've got 3 grandsons, and that's where we spend our time. That's where we get pretty much all of our enjoyment, is from those 3 boys. And it causes me to focus again about children. In fact, someday I'm going to write the McDougall program for children. Children are in big trouble. I mean, you look at little kids, and the 2 to 5-year-olds, about 20% of them are overweight. When I went to school, if we had a fat kid in the classroom, that child stood out and everybody felt sorry for them. Now, when you go to school, in your class, well over a third of the children are overweight, and many of them are obese, and we think nothing about it. But folks, this is child abuse. You know, if those children were on the other extreme, if they were skin and bones and you were looking at their ribs, you'd expect legal organizations, the government, to get involved to help our children. But because it's the exact opposite in terms of their appearance, but not in terms of suffering, these kids are suffering terrible. You know, they're overweight, they feel bad, they're constipated, they don't look the way that they could. You know, my personal opinion about this, and probably most of you share it with me, is that an obese child is not the way it should be. I hesitate to say not attractive. I know some of you will be offended by that, but you get the point. These kids are fat and sick, and we tolerate it in our society. There ought to be a law. There ought to be somebody that intervenes. There ought to be somebody that gets involved and helps save our kids, because they can't save themselves. They're not expected to. We're the parents, we're the guardians, we're the teachers, and we let this go on without any intervention. We know the cause. We know why these kids are fat and sick. Yeah, it's because of the rich Western diet that's served in the school lunch, and the soda pop that they drink, and the fast food restaurants that they stop in on the way home to get their food, because that's where they get their food, because their families don't cook the food at home like they used to anymore, and so they're sick. So we need a revolution. Yeah, that's right, we need a revolution. We need people who know better to stand up and to say this is wrong. And maybe we need to arrest a few parents. Oh boy, can you imagine Dr. McDougall suggesting such things so radical as that? Well, I want to tell you, when you hurt children, when you physically hurt children, something's got to be done. I think it's time. I'm Dr. John McDougall. Thanks for listening.